What's up, guys? Welcome to the line change. Yes, I'm wearing a Seattle Mariners jersey. I made it known. Actually, I made it known when we had Quads on the show that I was a Mariners fan, and you guys have to be honest. At least these particular Mariners jerseys they're absolutely beautiful. For those of you wondering, it is a whoops. Here. This real quick. It is a Griffey Junior. I got the matching hat, of course, as well. But this is the line change, not the Inside Jays podcast. So we're here to talk Vancouver Canucks. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. In this particular video, we're going to be talking about a offseason center trade target. I stumbled upon an article written by our friends over at Canucks Army, and it is, as I just mentioned, Canucks offseason center trade target or trade targets. But this is about one person in particular, and it is none other than excuse me, none other than Anthony Cirelli from the Tampa Bay Lightning. So we're going to dive into this article. We're going to talk about it and all that. We're going to, as I just mentioned, we're going to read the article, dissect it, and then I'll give my thoughts on it at the end. As I mentioned, it is from our friends at Canucks Army. It's written by Stefan Roget. Apologies if I mispronounce your name. I will leave a link to the article in the description down below, so you guys can either read along with me or you can read at your own merit. But before I dive into the article, let's go ahead and do my sponsor read. I'd like to, thank my sponsor first and foremost. Let me just pull up my sponsor. There we go. All right. So I'm going to do my sponsor read, and then we'll dive right into the article. I'd like to thank my primary sponsor, W Energy. And of course, this podcast is a presentation of W Energy. Are you looking for a energy drink that is jitter-free, crash-free, no sugars, no artificial colors or dyes, and an energy drink that has no calories? Then W Energy is just what the doctor ordered. W Energy has over 15 unique and custom different flavors to choose from, including Galaxy Grenade, which is a blend of watermelon, guava, and lime explosion. You also have the Beach and Peach, which is a blend of mango, white, peach, like a cooler. Looking to give it a try? Get the starter sampler pack for $24. For $24, you get a shaker and 3 different flavors to try. Be sure to use the code The Line Change and save 10% on your next purchase. The link is in our description down below. Right now, actually, They have a buy two, get one free sale going on for this entire month. Use the code B2G1 when you have 3 tubs or more in your cart. Go ahead and check out their website, www.w.gg. Once again, that is www.w.gg. Sorry. W Energy. Be better. Your taste buds' favorite energy drink. All right. So let's go into this video. And actually, before I do that, I'm going to have myself a little bit of W energy. That hits the spot. All right, so let's go into this article. As I mentioned, written by Stefan Roget. And this was posted 2 days ago. But let's go ahead and dive right into it. The Vancouver Canucks aren't the only NHL franchise with a hankering for change in the 2025 offseason. By most counts, the Tampa Bay Lightning are one of the most successful organizations in modern league history. They've made the playoffs now for 8 straight seasons, last missing out in 2017. They've won 2 Stanley Cups and gone to another finals in that time. But hockey is a real what have you done for me lately kind of sport. What the Lightning have done lately is lose in the first round repeatedly. This most recent 4-1 series loss to the Panthers was Tampa's 3rd straight first round exit and their 2nd in 3 years to their interstate rival. With some of their most important talent like Victor Hedman, Nikita Kucherov, and Andrei Vasilevsky, each getting up there in years, with Victor Hedman being 35, Kucherov being 31, and Vasilevsky being 30. The Lightning are short on time to reconfigure and reload for another run or two. Tampa Bay are also in some ways victims of their own success. Their current core has stepped it up before on numerous occasions, especially in the postseason, and they've been rewarded as a result. The roster is laden with big, expensive contracts. The vast majority of them hold trade or movement protection clauses of some sort. This will naturally limit the Lightning's choices as they set out to make changes this summer. In fact, of the Lightning's truly key players, there are just 2 without any no trade clause or no movement clauses to speak of heading into next season. Those players are Brandon Hagel, coming off a 90-point season at a cap hit of $6.5 million, making him one of the league's greatest bargains, and Anthony Cirelli. And with the Canucks on the lookout for centers this summer, it's Cirelli's name that catches our eye as most interesting. Cirelli, too, had a pretty good 24-25 campaign. His 27 goals and 59 points were each career highs, and Cirelli joined Hagel in being selected for Team Canada at the Four Nations Face-Off. Always a defensive specialist, Cirelli was nominated for the Selke Trophy this year, the first nomination of his career, but the 7th straight time he's received votes for the award. That's each of his full NHL seasons, but there are some other concerns and circumstances at play here that may make Cirelli a little more available than is the typically Selke nominee. The first is his contract status. He's in the 2nd of an 8-year deal that takes him to 2031 at a cap hit of $6.25 million. That seems like fair compensation for what he brings now. That should only get better as the cap rises. But Cirelli also has a full no-trade clause that kicks in as of July 1 and no trade protection at all until then. That makes Cirelli one of the only significant players the Lightning could trade freely this summer. and that sort of automatically puts him on the block, at least for consideration. If Tampa Bay wants a shakeup, trading Cirelli might be one of the most direct ways to achieve it. There's also some concern to be had with Cirelli's playoff production. This past series saw him post just 1 assist in 5 games against the Panthers. The year before that, it was 2 points in 5 games against the Toronto Maple Leafs. It should be noted that the year before that, Cirelli posted 6 points in 6 first-round games against the Panthers, but that's literally his only playoff series in which he's posted anything greater than a half point per game rate. That's not the best trend for a player who has never missed the playoffs in his career to date, but while that may raise question marks in Tampa Bay, specifically, it doesn't do much to take the shine off of Cirelli as an asset, which brings us to the biggest reason why he might be available for trade: the massive return the Lightning would be able to demand. Let's get to the Canucks side of this. The fit is rather undeniable. The Canucks are looking for a top 6 center, and despite his defensive focus, Cirelli still qualifies on production alone. At age 27, going on 28, he's right in line with the current Canucks core. In the quest to return Elias Pettersson to his former glory, we can't help but notice the level of support that might be offered by a running mate like Cirelli. His Selke-worthy own zone coverage would take a lot of pressure off Pettersson's own defensive responsibilities, potentially freeing him up to refocus on his offense. There's also no denying that a 1-2 punch of Pettersson and Cirelli at their best would be an absolute two-way nightmare for opponents. In terms of centers, that could directly and immediately help the Canucks become a more effective team. There aren't going to be many better options available. The issue comes through that aforementioned cost. Cirelli will not come cheap at his age, cap hit, and skill level. There would be an enormous market for his services. Tampa Bay is not looking to rebuild, but more to retool. With just $6 million in cap space available to them this summer, Tampa might be best described as looking to shuffle their talent. Getting a little younger and a little cheaper would be advantageous, but it can't take away from Tampa's current competitiveness. That means that some of the Canucks' best assets, like their 15th overall pick, might be too future-based to make a difference to the Lightning, though it is something they could trade for and then flip for something else. We have to imagine a starting ask would be Tom Willander. He's described as NHL ready, and the right side of the Tampa blue line is a little weak after Eric Chernak. Bringing in someone like Willander to start to be mentored at the NHL level by a senior Swede in Hedman sounds like a great succession plan. But Willander alone wouldn't get the deal done. From there, we're maybe adding that 15th overall pick on top just as a sweetener, or perhaps the deal is best supplemented by younger NHL talent like a Filipino or a Niels Höglander, a player we could see really thriving in the Tampa Bay system. Or maybe it's some variation on all of the above. The bidding war for someone of Cirelli's stature could easily get out of hand. But if we're at the point that the ask is Willander, 15th overall pick, first round, that is, Hedl and Höglander is at the point at which the Canucks walk away. We find in Cirelli an ideal player for the Canucks, but perhaps not an ideal acquisition target. The cost might reasonably be too high and consist of those sorts of assets that the Canucks don't exactly have in abundance, but that other teams do. Cirelli, in other words, seems like a player for whom the Canucks are likely to get outbid on, but that's definitely no reason not to at least make a bid if and when Cirelli appears on the trade block. So that was an interesting article. I will admit, Cirelli, however it's pronounced, he's never been someone who I've actually thought about as a trade target. So it's interesting to see this on Canucks Army. I also know that they were talking about it on Canucks Conversation the other day, at least briefly, and Harm completely shut it down, and it was Quads who was really going, let's bring this guy in. As far as what I think, I have to agree with what the article said, that I think, if the Canucks did attempt to try and get Cirelli, I think they would most certainly get outbid. And, if Tampa Bay is asking for, Willander, 15th overall pick, Hedel, and Höglander, I have to completely 100% agree that I would, and if it was me, I would walk away from that. That is too steep of a price for one player. And yeah, I don't think the cost would balance it out. And despite us getting a player the caliber of Cirelli in return, losing Willander, the 15th overall pick, Hedel and Höglander is just a little too much for me. Maybe if Höglander was removed from the equation, I'd be, okay with it. But you can't give up Hedel and Höglander. Obviously, if you think about it, Hedel would obviously be the replacement for Cirelli in Tampa Bay if they went that route. But at the same time, would Tampa Bay even be interested in a Philip Hedel, due to his concussion history? Would they even, sniff at that? But still an interesting trade target. Now, obviously, hearing that he has his no trade kicks in on July 1st, same time as Pettersson's no move clause kicks in. But it's definitely an interesting, trade target for the Vancouver Canucks. I'll admit, despite me not, really thinking about Cirelli as a trade target, I will admit I actually picked him up in my fantasy league this past season, and I ended up, after I picked him up, I ended up keeping him for the rest of the season, and he actually really stepped it up for me and actually helped me win in my league. So I will say that. But that's gonna do it for this video. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think of Cirelli as a potential center trade target for the Vancouver Canucks this offseason. Do you guys like the idea of Cirelli? What are some of the trade packages that you would propose to Tampa Bay to try and snag Cirelli from them? Once again, let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, if you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. As you can see on the screen, if you want to stay up to date on all your Vancouver Canucks content on this channel, you can like the video as I just mentioned. You can smash that subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. You can also turn on your notifications. That way you are reminded every single time we upload a new video. You can also find us on social media. You can find us on Facebook. Just search The Line Change and you will find our Facebook page. You can find us on Instagram at The Line Change. You can find us on Twitter/X at Line Change Van. You can also find us on TikTok at the.line.change.po. You can also find us on Patreon. Just search The Line Change and you can become a member of our Patreon. You can also, if you prefer audio as opposed to video, or if you maybe like a little bit of both, you can also listen to us on both Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Just search the Line Change Podcast on either platform, and you should be able to find us. If you also, you can, another way to support the channel is you can rate and review. You can also follow us on Spotify, and that way you also stay up to date on everything we post on there as well. So again, that's going to do it for this video. As always, go Canucks go, and I'll see you guys in the next video.